Yeah, excuse me, that was my computer rebooting. Pardon me, I didn't do that. It did it automatically. Sorry.
Oh,
but
surprising to you when you're at these conventions and stuff and see what fandom has become and just how many people there are and their interests.
It is interesting to me. I mean, on one level, the amount of fans, which are now number in the tens of thousands typically at these conventions, are, on one level, it's completely transitory in that we are living in a sci-fi horror, B-movie age. This is what's popular now. So, by that measurement, in another maybe 5-10 years, that might not become so popular any longer. You know, people may become more conservative again. It might turn back into the 80s or 70s or something. Who knows? But so I sort of look at it, having lived as long as I have, I sort of look at it with a little bit of a skeptical eye in that regard. I've lived through a couple ages like that. But on the other hand, it has made it possible for those who would already love that stuff and who aren't behaving in a pop sense, like a whatever's popular now sort of idea, to come out and be with a lot of people and feel good about themselves.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
When I was a kid. Oh, sorry. What were you saying? Sorry.
Oh no. I was about to probably go where you're about to go.
Yeah. I mean. No. Please go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh well, no. I was actually going to say when I was a kid. When I was 13 years old, I was obsessed with the Evil Dead movies. Everything you were doing, your brother was doing, that Bruce Campbell was doing. Doctor Who with Tom Baker, because I was watching the reruns. Comic books were a big thing for me, and nobody wanted to talk to me about any of that stuff. And now it rules the world.
It does rule the world. I mean, but again, I think it does rule the world. And when I was a kid
not in the front of my brain. The front of my brain isn't bitter. You know what I mean? But it is.
What do you mean bitter? Like
maybe not. Like bitter, not too strong a word. Like I don't look at people and say, "How dare you be into stuff that I like?" But it's more just.
Oh right, yes, of course. It becomes right. That's what I mean to say. Yes, I'm just like you are. I feel the same way. But you have to understand that in any genre there are posers, but they're. Yeah, as fans and stuff like that, and people who love it and who pretend to love it, who don't really. But that all gets blown away in the end. As time goes on, they'll drop off as new things become popular.
Right.
So this type of entertainment is, I think, probably transitory. That's what I think. There'll be the enjoyment of this sort of intense sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like
I'm sorry, we seem to have a little bit of a time delay.
Yeah, sorry about that. You know what? Why don't we try this? Can you call me right back and I'll pick up the phone? It might just be a connection problem due to something. But if you call me back, I bet we might be able to clear it up.
Yeah, I'm not taking up too much of your time, am I?
No, not at all. Please call me right back, and I'll wait here by the phone to answer it.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Ted.
Okay, bye. Hey, it's me.
Hey there.
So that might be a little better, at least for a while.
Yeah. Well, as long as I'm not going to get you mad at me, I think we'll be okay.
No, we're fine. We're just fine.
All right, cool. Very good. Very good. That's the thing is that I've often said that the difference between like a hipster and just a fan of something is that the difference between irony and enthusiasm. You know what I mean?
You mean to say, yes, I do know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I agree. Totally agree with that.
I'm talking to some kid who just saw, the new Doctor Who or whatever. He's going to watch the new Evil Dead show or whatever. And he's excited about it. The last thing that I want to do is be like, oh, well, I was there when nobody knew about it. Just because I happen to be lucky enough to come across it. And be the kind of guy that just kind of hits. So.
Right, and it's always a little disappointing when 10 million people like the thing that you liked when no one else liked it. But that's why they call people like you tastemakers, and that's why you're a writer for a magazine and you have a web presence, because people do watch you for those things. That's why you have the job you have, after all, because you are very good at that.
Well, thank you. I got it from Ted Raimi directly, so it must be true.
Yeah, that's right.
So Ted, here's where I'll definitely go in the magazine with a little bit of an explanation. I believe that you were probably the original fake chef. Is that true?
I don't know. That expression, fake chef, I hear that a lot, I know. But I guess I am. But really, that was invented by Sam, my brother, Bruce Campbell, and Bruce Campbell, and Scott Spiegel, who was one of the writers of Evil Dead. And it was of course, it's an affectionate term meant for anyone who's helpful, but really it started out as it was a note about Shemp Howard, when he would do intense stunts on the Three Stooges, was often doubled by probably some guy over there at Republic Pictures, no doubt. But he wasn't a very good double, because those were B shorts. They were never A-list shorts. They were B shorts.
Right.
So he played in front of B pictures. So this guy was a very bad double, and he kind of always did a lousy job of blocking his face and stuff. So they would affectionately call anyone who was a helper a fake chimp, but I guess so, yeah.
I actually read a different story about that, and it was.
Oh, you did?
I'm gonna go deep geek on you, man. I'm gonna go way deep on you.
Go ahead.
The Army of Darkness comic book
adaptation
that was done by Dark Horse had an interview with Bruce in the back, and in that he said that fake Shemp came about because Shemp had died in the middle of them making a short, and that in that short they went ahead and finished it anyway because they didn't want to lose the footage. So they had a guy who would come on with his hands over his face, and he was supposed to be Shemp, but he wasn't. Shemp was
he might be right about that. I can remember Scott Spiegel telling me that he was just being a few people being bad doubles, but perhaps he had already died. That is entirely possible.
Right. Yeah. I'll run that.
You may be right about that. I could be entirely wrong. But in any case, it's a I don't know, but yeah, it's definitely a kind term to give to somebody.
Oh yeah, it's an honor. I mean, I've worked on little movies and stuff that are, no budget, and everybody always talks about Shemp. Fake Shemp this, fake Shemp that, and it's definitely something that is caught on and is part of the lexicon.
Yeah, funny thing. Yeah,
it's just great on that one stuff. So, would you say that do you have a real ingrown or inborn passion for horror filmmaking, or do you think that it's sort of one of those things where it's like at the time that you were first sort of coming up in the business, if you were going to make an independent movie, that would be the kind of movie that you would make?
When I was starting out, back in the 80s, Bruce and those guys started a decade earlier, but even when I was starting out acting-wise in the 80s, making a horror movie was only slightly better than making a porno. In fact, people would say, as a half joke, and this is true, people would say as a half joke, well, at least they're not doing porn. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, well, shit, man, dude, I'm, sort of a pat on the back, like, you couldn't get anything real if you had to do a horror movie, sorry, man.
Right.
That's how it was looked at. That's how those who were in horror movies were looked at.
Right.
And to this day, it's, even though it's very accepted and a big moneymaker, people still, to some small degree, look at that. If you look at the cast list of horror films, only a very few have A-listers.
Right, yeah.
And if they are, still, to this day, there are very few have. I mean, it's funny, despite how popular it is, guys like Bradley Cooper still probably wouldn't want to do a horror film right now. That wouldn't be big on his list, you know what I mean? But a gal like Katie Sackhoff, a fine actress and a very interesting girl and talented and all that stuff, would. Because she's maybe she's not an A anymore, maybe she's an A- or something, I don't know. whatever. There's nothing disparaging against her. She's a wonderful actor, but that's just the way it is. And so when I was starting out, it was really like that. Now, I mean, it's expected. But then it was the last thing you'd really want to be telling your friends and your other actor friends that you were doing. It was sort of a slightly shameful thing.
Right.